Hi, I'm Dr. Gwen Ford, and I am so excited that you are here to watch 30 minutes of the I Believe TV program. And I'm telling you, your world will never be the same. I want you to do one thing for me right away, though. Pick up that phone, dial a friend, and tell them that I Believe is on. Your life will change. The world will change. We're all over the world right now. So stay with us because you are watching for the next 30 minutes the I Believe TV program. Dr. Gwen Ford. A brand new fall season, a brand new show, a brand new focus, a brand new production studio. What more could a girl want? God is so good. He's opened up so many doors. And I would like to invite you to personally come and watch this program. It's called I Believe, and it's about you. The focus is going to be testimonies, people sharing the word. And it's going to be seen all over the world, you guys. What more could you ask for? The Creative Christian Network. Don't you dare miss it. I Believe. Hi guys, I'm glad you're here. You caught me doing what I like to do, which is reading the Word. I enjoy this Word. And the whole purpose of the show is to spread it. So I want you guys to help me, okay, in two ways. I want you to help me by calling people, calling your friends, emailing them, getting on social media, whatever you have to do, and tell them about the I Believe TV program. We're on the Christian Television Network, but we're also now have added to our network of exposure the Creative Christian Network, and that goes worldwide, and we even have radio added on. We have just been growing. God is blessing. He wants this word to get out there, and I want you to be part of it. We all have a story to share. We've all had a testimony. We've all been touched by God, and it doesn't have to be something bad. But I want you to call me or email me, get on social media, whatever it takes. Connect with me because I'd like to have you on the program, and this time your friends will be on the viewing side and you're going to be over here sharing your story with the whole wide world. I'm so excited, I can't hardly stand it. I need your participation, and we need all of the believers to become part of the body of believers. I so believe in the unity in the body of believers. I so love this book of Ephesians. It's my favorite book in the Bible. So come on, guys, pick your book in the Bible, decide what you want to do, think in your heart, ask God in your heart, and you're going to want to be on this side of the camera, sharing it with everyone. And we will want to hear your story as much as you want to have your friends hear how God has been working in your life and in your heart. Become a believer and do what I do. Every morning I get up and I say, thank you, God. I love you so much. I'm a believer. Thank you. I want to thank you viewers out there as well, because for the next 30 minutes I am so excited. We've got so much information to share with you. And right now my very first guest is Mr. Chris McDonald. And this is very personal for me because I have an online newspaper, and it's a secular newspaper, but we're reaching everyone. And I'm really excited. And the current times, as you know, right now are really dynamic. I mean, it's a battlefield out there. So right now, let's all welcome Chris. Hey, Chris.
Gwen, good to see you, as always.
Hey, you are a hard-working man.
I try to be. All 24/7, try to be.
Now that paper has been, we're in our second year.
We are going on our second year. We started this East Tennessee Times back in January of 2014, and it's been a labor of love between the two of us, and we've worked hard on it, and we've had some, we've had some mountains, ups and downs. We have, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But one of the constant things about the paper that I've loved to do is that we've maintained keeping people informed of what's going on around them locally, nationally, world events.
Yes.
But what sets us apart a little bit from most newspapers is that we've always tried to keep a pulse on the faith of the nation and events and stories that affect Christianity, people's church-going habits, things of that nature that affect people spiritually. We do try to highlight that, and that you can see that in our editorials. We can see that in our stories we run, and that sets us apart a little bit more than most newspapers out there.
And I'm going to take a second and address the viewers out there. We have a special segment. We have it on Facebook. Of course, we do all the social media and everything, but we ask for you guys to send in pictures, whether they be weather pictures, from news on the spot, because we can't be everywhere.
Can't be everywhere all the time, and you mentioned the Facebook page. It's East Tennessee Times. And that's probably one of the things that we're working on more this year than last year is the interaction of the community, because when people don't know who you are, it takes time to build that up. But I think we're beginning to see a little bit of that. I mean, you've discussed that, and we're happy to see that, because really a newspaper is for the people. It's not so much what we're doing. We're just here to provide the information, but we want people to interact.
Right.
And look, you mentioned something a while ago that is so vitally correct, and that is we're living in such turbulent times right now, and faith is at an all-time place of peril in this country.
It's at a crossroads.
And we have never been, as believers in Jesus, more at danger of losing our freedom. And if there is a role that East Tennessee Times can play in at least warning people what's coming, what's out there, what is going on, and speak the truth.
Yes.
Speak the truth. Before we started this segment, I was thinking of the verse in Acts when Peter, Israel was seeking to persecute the apostles right after the resurrection, and they grabbed Peter and Paul, and before Paul, but James, all of them, and they said, you're going to stop speaking this name of Jesus, and if you don't, we're going to throw you in jail. And I'm going to tell you, we are at a real point in this nation that we've never been in the history of this nation.
I know.
That we're close to that.
And Chris, not to interrupt you, but I think that the public knows that. But what they don't do, they're not preparing. They're not staying on top of things. Don't you agree?
I'll agree with that, but I'll tell you where that goes back down to. It goes back down to the pulpits of our country. And look, I respect the ministry. I'm a minister. I've been in the ministry for 25, going on 30 years now, and I respect anyone that has the call of God in their life. But Gwen, a lot of the problems that we face in our nation today, and I'm not saying this so much secularly as spiritually, but when the nation is sick, you can always judge the health of the nation on the health of the church, and vice versa.
I agree with that.
If the nation is healthy, there's a good chance the church in that nation is healthy. If the nation is facing peril like ours is, you look at the health of the church. And as Peter said, almost 2,000 years ago, we must obey God rather than man. And somehow or another, that has gotten lost on the landscape of the pulpits of this nation.
Well, because a lot of the media is always trying to scare us. And what I always tell my friends, we're sitting around, we're talking, and we're saying, oh, listen to this and look at that, and did you hear what just happened? But we just talk to each other. We don't do anything. These other groups that are tearing the church down, they get together and they do something. And I think the newspaper is a way that I'd like to encourage the public to interact with the paper and speak out. We could be a great platform, don't you think?
I'll agree with that. And again, being a newspaper, you don't have to put things out there that everybody's going to agree with.
Right.
It's a newspaper.
It's
and when we report the news, we try to report the facts of what we know. When we are dealing with opinion, that's something else.
That's right.
And the East Tennessee Times, in our opinion, we're a godly newspaper.
Yes.
And we're going to put things out there with a pro-faith basis, and that's just the way it's going to be.
That's
and
right.
I mean, I know that you have that, you're the publisher, and I know that that's what one reason me and you started this venture, and you came to me almost 3 years ago now, but this East Tennessee Times event We wanted to be a light
Yes.
to people,
Yes.
to let them have something, because that light is
Right.
also dimming in America. You
Oh.
don't have that influence
Right.
to where people are hearing
Right.
the truth and hearing what is going on in the nation from an angle that's godly and biblical. And again, I want to stress this, not to interrupt you.
That's okay.
But I wanted to stress this. It doesn't mean that everybody has to agree. We respect the opinions of others, but they need to respect ours too.
Exactly.
And then they can make their call.
And that's what my ministry is about, is the unity in the body of believers. And viewers out there, I want you to call in to the paper. We have a number there. We have a location. You can write us. You can email us. You can Facebook, Twitter. I mean, Chris is really we're an online newspaper. But use the paper. Use to ask us, what do you do in emergency? I was coming here, and one of my show partners we were talking about that. What do we do if there is an emergency, and how do we help our neighbor, and who do we connect with? And we need to have some kind of a little plan. And if you don't know, or you think, well, it's hopeless, I'm in a mobile home and I don't have a basement, I don't know what to do, that's when you need to make sure that call a newspaper, send an email to the newspaper, and ask us for what we can gather information that might be pertinent to them. Don't you think?
That's absolutely correct.
We can do that.
We can do that. And again, that's going back to being a light and being a source of information for people in these
Exactly.
troubled days.
Yes.
And I think that as we move forward, Gwen, into this year, one of my goals and prayer for the newspaper is that when people do pull up the East Tennessee Times, that no matter how turbulent our nation becomes, because I got news for the people watching this program tonight, we're just seeing the beginning.
Oh.
We think things are bad. They're not going to get any
No.
better. We're headed, Jesus is coming quick. And what is ahead of us is not going to be good. But if the East Tennessee Times can be a source of blessing and encouragement to some discouraged soul out there,
Yes.
and I feel the presence of God saying that,
Yes.
then we will have accomplished all the labor, all the work,
Yes.
and I think the Lord is going to be behind it, because that's where we need to be as a newspaper in these last days, as a source of light in a
source of
dark
light.
world.
And a big group. We need to
Absolutely.
unite, and I think with the fact that we're online, a lot of people are going to access us easier.
And let me just mention that's where the newspaper world has changed.
Yes.
I was in the newspaper business long ago, before the hair was as white as it is now, but that is the change,
Yes.
because the internet has made the world of the newspaper accessible worldwide.
right.
So at any time of the day,
Everything's
anybody all over the world
Yeah.
can view what's going on right here in East
Right,
Tennessee.
exactly.
And that's the difference. But that's both a challenge and a blessing, and we've got to meet that in this coming year.
And you do a wonderful job, Chris. I want to say publicly right now on this platform that I have to congratulate you, because you do all the work, you gather all the news, you keep it updated, and that's a lot. And we're talking East Tennessee. We're not talking just Sevier County, guys. We're talking East Tennessee, and you do an excellent job.
It's a labor of love.
And it is
It's
a labor of love, and it's a 24/7 job for you.
It
and
is.
I certainly can't do this and do the paper and do all the things that I'm got into, but we need, and I'm just going to close with this, and I want to thank you, but we need to unite, and I can't overemphasize that. We need to stay on top of what's happening, and we need to know our neighbors, you guys. EastTNTimes.com, it's on the screen, but you need to feed back to the paper. Tell us what your needs are, what your worries and your concerns are. But most important, let us know you're there. Get on Facebook, get on Twitter, because Chris here, he loves the online stuff. Me, I'm not so good at that. But the main thing is, we're all together, and whether you're a solid believer or just starting to become a believer, just get on the believing side.
Amen.
Because right now,
Amen.
the times are so bad, we need to believe and stand together.
Amen.
Stay with us. We got a lot more coming right now.
God bless.
God bless. Dr. Gwen Ford, and I'm going to share the word with you right now. I get so excited when I pick up the Bible. And I'm going to share with you Ephesians 1 through 6, all right? I am in prison because I belong to the Lord. Now remember, this is Paul talking. God chose you to be his people, so I urge you now to live the life to which God called you. Always be humble, gentle, and patient, accepting each other in love. You are joined together with peace through the Spirit, so make every effort to continue together in this way. There is one body and one Spirit, one God called to you to have one hope. There is one Lord, one faith, and one baptism. There is one God and Father of everything. He rules everything and is everywhere and is in everything. Just take a few minutes every day to read the Bible. It will make you say, I believe. Thank you, guys. Well, we're back, and this time I'd like to introduce someone who's very familiar to our I Believe cameras, and this is Mr. Pastor Donnie Hartzog. I don't know why I put the Mr. in there, but you are. Hi, Pastor.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I am so excited because we have a new studio, and we have a new concept, and we have a new producer, and we reach all over the world now, which we did before, but this time our producer has a network, the Creative Christian Network.
That's awesome.
Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, I mean, we're going all over the place. And these are bad times, and we're hearing about all the worldly places, and we're seeing them on the news all the time. Now, from a pastor's perspective, how do you feel the strength of the church is right now?
Well, obviously, as a whole, the churches believe in God. I mean, that's why we're there. That's what God put in our hearts and all that. I mean, you're going to have situations, circumstances, you know, but it is the time that the church has to stand. You know, some of the things we're facing, some of the things we're going through, not just as a nation, but like you said, as a whole.
Yes.
I mean, and the church at this point, it's got to reach out with the message. Jesus said to go and spread the good news.
Right.
You know, and today, that's what we need, some good news. You know, we need to hear that God is still on the throne, you know, that all things are possible. You know, too many times in our life we get this, you know, no hope.
Right.
Don't know what we're going to do. I mean, we did it in our own nation right now. We're like, oh man, just what's happening and where we're headed.
And
you know?
where is God?
But there is hope still, you know. A lot of people say, well, our nation's turned away from God, and a lot of it has, but you know, there is still a foundation there.
But a lot of us haven't.
And it's the church.
Yes.
You know, but the church also can't sit back and, you know, even in the physical body, we talk about Jesus used the body all the time, you know, as an example.
Yes.
And even in the physical body, it's got a backbone. That's what the church is, you know. But if that backbone chooses to just not do its job, everything else crumbles.
Now, for the people, Pastor Johnny, I get a lot of people that I answer the phones and that ask me, okay, where can I go to a church? Because they're getting scared and they're wanting to go to church. But some of the churches are really not responding to these people. They're not open. They go there on a Sunday and they're not made welcome. What suggestions do you have to our viewers?
My suggestion to anybody, first of all, is when it comes to church itself, of course, the church has to be the one to say, I'm going to open my doors to anybody. Because we should as a church.
Absolutely.
And you know, church is just not a building. It's a group of people that are meeting together regularly as well. It doesn't have to be a church facility or building. It could be modern, it could be old, it could be new.
Somebody's home.
So, yes, so many different things, you know, in that. But ultimately, it's about, like you said, welcoming. The church has to say, you know what, I'm going to take it to anybody. Jesus didn't look out in the crowd and say, well, I'll pick you and you. And he didn't look at statistics. He didn't look at where they came from. As a matter of fact, those that he went to. And we've done it in our own church. You know, I said, well, what if the prostitute came and sat on the front row? What would you do about it, you know? And
we're supposed to love on her.
Yes.
And be glad she's there.
Yes, we should, you know, and because that's what it is. It's love and hope.
Yes.
Here's what I think happens. I think what's happened itself is that we've lost the value of people.
That's good.
God values everybody.
Yes.
And when we take on that value and say, you know what, I'm important. That's why a lot of people don't like themselves. They don't feel valuable.
It's a good thought.
And the church has gotten their eyes off the value of people as well. That's God's creation. Those people, every individual, God made and fashioned and formed in their own unique way.
Yes.
And to look at that individual is to say, hey, God created you just like nobody else is like you.
Right.
Even twins, like we know some of. They still have their own little bit of identities to them that God
Yes.
made them a little bit different.
Exactly.
You know? And so all of us are different, and we have to look at everybody as valuable. Whether they're Pakistani, whether they're India, whether they're American, whether they're American Indian, whether they're black, white, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
There's value there.
Yes.
And God created them, and if we can get that concept back in the church and say everybody is important and everybody has value.
Not only in the church, but as the Christians as a whole, we're starting to come across like we're mean and we're, judgmental.
Right.
And we're under attack, so we're ready
Yes.
to fight. And we need to be saying we're ready to love
Yes.
and welcome people in.
It is hard to have a balance. You got to have a balance to stand up for what you believe in and be strong. But in the same note, you have to be gentle and loving. Be wise as a serpent, right? Gentle as a dove. And so I think it's more of strategic ways and wisdom that continues to move the church forward right now.
I hear you on that. Now, what exact points do you have? Let's say someone is in a community and they're going to church, but they're not really feeling good. I've gone to some of those churches, and they don't even say hello to me, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm just hopping around checking them out. What would you say, you as a pastor, should that person, let's say I'm the one, and should I come up to you before the service, after the service, and introduce myself and say, hey, I want to be part of your group?
Well, that's a hard question, really, because every church is different in who's
But
there.
it shouldn't be.
Right, yeah, but I mean, just in their characters or flavor. I like to say flavor. Every church is a little different in its flavor,
Okay.
you know? And so you have different areas. People are different. Culture's different. Even in America, culture is different. Whether
That's
you're
true.
north, south, mid, any of those areas, it's different. And so, my point has always been, if you're in a church, just make sure that you're growing. I tell people that have come to my church, if you're not growing under me, then I encourage you to go to another church. Find somewhere that you are spiritually growing, that you're learning things, that you're getting more wisdom of God, you're gaining the knowledge of God, and you're being active in it or activated.
That's
You
good.
know, that you're being activated in the ministry or in your own spiritual life, being a doer of the word, not just hearing it only. That's what it's all about to me, is saying, hey, if you're not growing there, then maybe it's time just to step somewhere else for a little while. Seasons, time. God puts us in seasons. And I think as pastors, we got to be willing to say, hey, it's more about you than it is about who's in my church. I like to have a big church. Sure, we all would have good people and lots of people. But in the same note, if they're not growing, then what are we benefiting them? So I want to continue to teach people and help them to grow. And if they're not getting it from me, then I'm going to try to find somewhere that I can help that individual. I talked to a lady the other day. She came in and asked me about some things in her church. And I said, well, I know another church that's right down the road that I think is going to be what you're looking for. Now,
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, can you hear some pastors saying that?
No, I can't.
They'd be like, oh, well, there ain't no church around here like that. But I said, I know one
That's
down the road.
very
I know
good.
the people. They're great people.
Because you've got
there.
an open heart.
Yeah, well, it's about that people.
That's right.
Going back to the value
Yes.
of that individual.
Yes, and
That's
now
what
more
it's
so than ever. And also, I want to stress to my viewers out there that use this media, because there's church outside the walls, and the online churches, there's
yeah.
home churches, there's a lot of ways. If you're homebound, or if you're sick, or temporarily just moved in and you don't even have gas money to get to or a car to drive to go to church, because I get these calls from the viewers, and they're glad that we're here because they get the word.
Yes.
Because they can't get to church, don't know where to go to church.
Right.
I'm getting busy putting a directory, and I'm going to be putting a directory together. But I want you guys out there to really understand the value of the Word, the power of the Word at the time that we're having right
Yes.
now, because I turn on the TV at home, and even if I'm just trying to do something else, talk on the phone or whatever, I want to have that Word going
Right.
on. And that's another way this show could be helpful in other
Oh,
Christian
yeah.
shows. But the important part, I think, is what you and I do, that we believe in networking
Yes.
and getting this word however we have to get it
Right.
to other people. I know you go to a lot of churches, a lot of conferences, and you share the word. You're a
yeah.
teaching preacher.
Well, I just love to teach, and it
do.
is making a difference. And what we do is impacting. I have a lady, she's in her 80s,
Okay.
that she actually calls my church, gives us prayer requests and all, prays for her. She called Wednesday night. I prayed for her after the show. She watched the show, and she called. She said, I feel like you're my pastor, that you're a part of this, So we're reaching into those homes. If they're
Yes.
shut in and can't get out,
Yes.
it's making a difference.
It is.
It is, and that's what we are to do.
Yes.
is to go about and reach out with that gospel and good news.
And one thing that you're good for too, Pastor Donnie, is that you encourage and give the strength to each one of us to go out and touch someone else's life.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be a pastor. God is in each one of us. And correct me if I say anything out of line, but God is in each one of us, and God wants us to touch someone, even if it's just going through the McDonald's line saying hi to someone other than how much, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, that you can say, how's your day, and really listen, right?
We're in that season, you know.
Yes.
The Bible talks about the apostle, the prophet, the evangelist, the pastor, the teachers. For what? For the equipping of the saints for the work of the ministry.
Amen.
Not just equip them so they can make it through tomorrow, but to be able to fulfill the ministry of the kingdom. That's what it's all about. Each and every one of us can do that. Each and every one of us have an ability and an anointing inside of us to accomplish His will.
And having the Word, you know, get yourselves a Bible, you guys, and just, I mean, wear it out, tear it apart if you have to. Mine's falling apart.
Yeah.
But, you know, mark it. But, you know, get your special flavor. Get your, like you said, get something that you really like in here and apply it to your life. Because I think a lot of people are getting scared right now with the times. And because the Bible is under attack.
Oh, yeah.
They're almost, a lot of people are dropping off of Facebook because they don't want to say the amens on Facebook. Can you imagine that?
Oh, no. Just stand
Fear
up
on
for the
Facebook.
word. Yes, yes. We don't talk about fear. It's a whole other concept. But ultimately, we have to stand for the word and trust in the word.
Trust in the word.
It goes into trust in the word.
There's
you know?
power.
I lived by scriptures in my life. I've been through some things as well in my life. Just relationship situations in the past and also health as well.
Yes.
And the Word of God
Yes.
is what brought me through it. Nobody, no other person.
Yes.
It was the Word of God.
The Word of God.
And I stood on that Word and trusted the Word. You know, all things work together for the good for them that love the Lord, you know, are called according to His purpose.
Amen.
I lived on that verse for years, you know.
Amen.
And so I know it works.
Yes, yes.
I know it works.
And I'd like to address the cameras, and Pastor Donnie, I'd like for you to join in our salvation prayer. And if you'll reach out to our viewing audience right now and get them in tune, because you can believe, but you may not be saved. Ask God into your heart, because there's a difference between believing and knowing there's a God in the Bible.
Yes.
So cameras are all yours.
And it's very simple.
Yes.
You know, and I want you to know that it's very simple. All you have to do is just ask. That's it. That's all it requires, you know. And so we want to take a moment and just do that. Say, just, you know what? It's not about anything spiritual even. It's just about something simple. And trust in God. So let's take a moment and just do that together. You know, Father, we just thank you for this day, Lord. And I pray for everyone out there, Lord, that God, today you'll touch their hearts and their minds as well. And that you'll help them in this moment, in this time. Now, I want you to do this with me. I want you just to truly say, Father, forgive me. Father, forgive me of the things I've done that were wrong. Forgive me of my sins, Lord. I know that you have come into my heart right now. I accept you as my Lord and Savior. All things are possible from this moment. We thank you and we praise you. Amen.
Amen, amen. Yes. And we want you viewers out there to know that if you said that prayer, you are now saved. You've asked God into your heart. It's not over. Now you've got to get the Bible and reach out. Reach to a church and ask God into your heart every day at everything. Right, Pastor Donnie? And become a believer. Amen. Hallelujah. Praise God.